Spirit, I am curious if you would share with me more. I'm so interested by this idea that you're building community by kind of shouting your words, shouting into that canyon and seeing who echoes back, and that community includes that you're building this community of Black, trans, and gender expansive musicians. And as I think about that, I'm just really wondering, like, which Black transgender expansive musicians are captivating you, and what is it about building a Black transgender expansive musician community that is captivating you?
So part of it is that idea of being at the canyon and calling and seeing who responds, and also that the canyon is a place of response. Like, I don't know if you've ever seen those, like, hello, 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 right? So it is a place of response. And so who responded, right? I put the call out, and then these are the folks that have responded. So a lot of the who is folks who heard the call and responded, and have responded with their attention and with their yes. And so it is actually a group of sound makers. So it could be people that some of the folks are people who are like, oh, I definitely call myself musician, or I definitely call myself writer or singer. And some who are like, oh, I don't know that I use those titles. And we are exploring sound together and what that looks like. And so, in this time of many folks saying, oh my gosh, you have to double down on your community and building community, that's where the safety is, that's where the holding is. This is a space for me to really be like, hey, can we deepen in community in a lot of ways as we get together and make sound and build with each other? So it's that.
Mm. Yes, thank you for sharing that. That is, I mean, I have like good chills in my body that feel that power, and I'm grateful you're doing that work.
Thank you. Yeah, it feels good.
Another question that I have for you is, when I'm thinking about um, the way you talked about resting as a part of your practice of caring for yourself, and especially, resting in the work you're doing and resting in the efforts that you are making in your life. Um, I'm wondering with the recognition that our hearts hold many stories,
Yeah.
I'm wondering, what is a story that your heart holds around rest?
Hmm. Hmm. It's so interesting to think about this question of rest right now, because where I am is I'm in a powerful in between. So the in between of some work that I've been involved in for the past 7 years coming to a close. So that came to a close in like March, but I'm still in some processes of closure. And then a project I was doing with my sister earlier this month finished in June. Um, and so it's this in between of like all of those closing and this place. And so thinking of rest in this context, um, the story my heart has around rest right now is that I don't completely know what it is.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And it needs to include grief work.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, and grief work as release of what has been, right? And not necessarily like grief as sadness, but and yes, grief including sadness, but also grief as like release, like, oh, to grieve what was,
Yes.
so that I can prepare for what is. So that's included in the rest, is like, I don't know, and grief work, and um and therapy. So
Yeah.
various forms of therapy to have support in the holding of all of these things. And so I think my heart right now is very curious about what this process is and will be. And so that's what I'm saying about rest, is like, oh, I'm in the curiosity of like, what is it actually, and how will I tangibly put those things in place,
Mm.
so that I can um, satisfy the curiosity by doing, right? And then being on the other end, like, oh, that is a part of my rest. Like, oh,
Yes.
cool.
Yes. Thank you, Spirit.
Yeah.